right. Welcome back, everybody, to Real Talk Realty Podcast, where we put the real in real estate. You are with your host, JD.
And Gabby.
And Louie Namick.
And we have a very special, and I say this every week, but this one is super special.
How special?
Let me tell you how special. Okay, so the guy that's here is what I refer to. I don't know if he co-signed this, me saying it, but I think he's the king of home inspections.
I appreciate that.
We're super excited to have on Mark this week, and really what we want to talk to you guys about is the importance of getting a home inspection, why it's important, why it's very important to select a good and reputable home inspector, and we really appreciate you jumping on and taking time out of your busy schedule because this guy is hard. I mean, he'll figure out a way to get you in the schedule, but man, he's got some business popping.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That says a lot.
Yeah, it really does. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about your career in home inspections, where it started.
So where it started, I was doing construction. My stepbrother, he bought a house, and this is probably like 12 years ago now, and he asked me to come over to take a look at it. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Like, get a 6-pack of beer, and we'll walk around and take a look at your house. And I started like pointing stuff out to him, like, yeah, we can do a bar here. We can like do this with your deck, just little things here and there. And he's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm just being a supportive brother. Like, let's get another beer. Yeah. Let's walk around and we'll start pointing some stuff out. And I started pointing things out to him. And I was like, dude, it's a good house. Like, but you got just little things here and there and like nothing big. And he's like, you kind of pointed out everything that the home inspector pointed out. And I was like, what is a home inspector? Like, at that point, I hadn't bought a house, none of that.
Oh, how old were you?
27, 26 maybe. And then I had another friend that did the same thing to me a week later. And then I had a friend that just got into real estate, and he calls me up and he's like, do you know what you'd be really good at? And I was like, dude, I swear if you say home inspector, I'm going to go get my license. And that's what he said.
That's funny. Dang. So people were just calling you up because why did that? Is that because they knew that you already had you were a handy guy? Were you always like a pretty handy guy?
I mean, I did like construction in college and like I think my last year in high school maybe.
Yeah.
So early on it was just something fun to do.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into that. I had a friend that was doing it and he's like, do you want to come hang out this summer? And I was like, well, I mean, I got to make some money, dude. Like he goes, no, like, I mean, hang out with me at work. I'm like, yeah, but we got to actually like work.
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
Like we were friends. We were remodeling people's houses and stuff and for a local company out of Damascus. And it was a blast. I had a lot of fun doing that. I kind of fell back into that after college and enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
So how long have you been doing home inspections?
Just over 10 years now.
Wow.
Dang.
Doesn't
That's
feel
crazy.
like it. The gray hair might say it.
I was just going to ask you about the gray hair there.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not bad.
It's been really cool watching you grow the company because originally it was just you. Mm-hmm. And it was you were the one doing the bookings. You were controlling everything. Now you have an assistant who's lovely and does a great job. She's making sure that everybody's scheduled and that they have time. There's a lot that goes into it because you got to map out where your inspections are and make sure you have enough time to hit each one. Oh, yeah. And now you have a guy who I've met and he's done a terrific job on many of my clients' home inspections, Brad. How long's Brad been with you guys now?
He's been with us for just over 3 years.
Man, so, just time's flying.
It does.
Yeah, I remember when you didn't even have him. I can't believe he's been there for 3 years.
Yeah, and we hired another guy last year, Charlie. So we have a third guy too.
Oh, your business is growing, huh?
Yeah, we've been lucky. We're trying to keep it going.
Hey, I'd like to point this out too. I meant to point this out during the intro. Go to Springirth Home Inspections on Google and look at the reviews. I've never seen. Listen, what is it? 600? It's got to be. Is it 600?
We're getting close to 900.
Wow.
I'm hoping we hit over 1,000 this year.
900, close to 900, all 5 stars.
Wow.
You don't hear of that,
No.
so that would say a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we might have one that's maybe a 1-star in there.
But you know what? There's so many 5 stars that Google it shows it as a full 5-star, which is very impressive in today's world.
Like that 1 star
didn't count.
It counts. It was their opinion. But I think it was a seller on that one. I don't think it was a buyer that was with us. But it just goes to show that it could be. It just goes to show that it's actual real reviews.
Yeah,
it's real stuff. What we find is we make it. People want things to be easy. Mm-hmm. So if we can just send them a link to our page and say, hey, just let us know how we did with our service.
Yeah.
Usually they're pretty good at giving those reviews. And if you do a great job, I find it's easy to get like the 5 stars. You either really get 5 stars or you get 1 star.
That's true.
Like we don't really have any that's in between.
Yeah.
Right.
So run us through your basic home inspection. Someone calls you, a realtor calls you, we need a home inspection. What do you do when you get to the property?
So even before we get to the property, we have a decent amount of work to do. One thing that we're constantly building, constantly changing is the information that we take in before the home inspection. That's something that I did when it was just me, but I didn't have any of that stuff written down. It was just in my head. So getting that stuff written down, and we have a form that not everyone sees, but if you go online, you can see a good portion of it. And it asks you things like simple stuff like, when is your home inspection deadline? There's sometimes where people will go online and they'll think they're booking for a particular day, and it's not the day that they're thinking that they're booking for. And then they'll put, and that's why we put like the home inspection contingency, because then it's like, hey, you scheduled your home inspection after your contingency's up. What's going on? And then there's other things too, like, okay, well, you want to do a radon test. We need to know when your deadline is, because, okay, if our home inspection is going to be, let's say on Friday, and your deadline is on Saturday, we can't drop your radon test off on Friday.
Right.
We need to drop it off beforehand.
Exactly.
And then we take in a lot of data about the house before we even get there. So we want to know like how old the house is, how long has the seller lived there for. That gives us good information, because it's like, okay, when we get there, if the seller doesn't know, if they don't disclose how old the roof is, then we can be like, okay, well, they've lived here for 6 years, and the roof looks like it's probably around maybe 10, but it could be newer than that. Ask the seller how old the roof is. If they don't know, ask them if they've replaced the roof. They should know if they've replaced the roof.
Right.
And then if they say, no, we haven't replaced it, well, then you know it's older than 6 years. Or if they're like, you know what, we did replace it. It was like the first year in. We had a storm come through and it was done through insurance. Okay, well, we know it's less than 6 years. Little things like that before we get to the property really kind of help set it up for when we arrive. When we can, we like to send over just information to the buyers, not just the buyer's agent, the listing side too. So we'll go on to MLS and we try to find the information for the seller, the listing agent, and then that way they're in communication during the entire process. That was one thing that I didn't do early on, and I'd book an inspection for JD. We would show up, JD would tell the listing side, and then they would forget to tell their seller, and then we would knock on the door, and they're like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, we're here for the home inspection.
Right.
And they're like, nobody told me about that.
That's happened before, right?
So what we do is we send over a confirmation not just to the buyer side. We send it over to the sellers as well. They still have to send it to their seller, the agent does. But then we'll also send over a 24-hour reminder, text message, and we also send a 1 hour, like, hey, we're on our way. Since we started doing that, everyone always knows when the inspection is.
That's the best. No more surprises.
No more surprises. Yep.
And it's great for the seller too, because then they know, they get a picture of us. They know, like, okay, this is what the person looks like who's going to be coming to my house. This is how long they expect to be there. And then I just think if somebody was coming into my house, I would like to at least know the basics.
So you start off right at the beginning with great customer service, because that is good customer service.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the biggest thing that I have noticed over the past years I've been doing this is where things fall short is communication.
Yeah.
And if you don't communicate correctly to everyone, then that's where you can have problems.
100%. I know that from, with your website, even like going on your website, it's a menu basically of what do you want to do? What kind of, because every property is going to be different. Some properties may not have a basement, so you're not really worried about radon. Or, you may want a wood destroying insect inspection or whatever the case may be, but you can go on Mark's website and actually go through it just like you're ordering at a restaurant and decide what you want, and you can just book it through there.
Right, because not all inspections are needed.
Right, exactly. And that's the other thing too. If as a first-time home buyer, if you have never done this before, you literally don't even know if you need a home inspection. And so I guess that kind of leads me into my next question is, why should everybody get a home inspection?
And before you answer that, answer that, but also tell us, for new construction, do you still recommend them get a home inspection? Because I've had a lot of people ask that question.
We do a lot of new construction home inspections. At least once a week, we're doing a handful of them. That's something that I would 100% do new construction. Builders, I used to be a builder. We're all human. Mm-hmm. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yep.
There's things that just, okay, well, shoot, we were outside doing this and it started pouring down rain. We were in the middle of something and we had to stop. Well, when we went back, we thought we started the same spot we did, but we didn't.
Right.
And I had, the other day, the electrician is usually one of the last people to come through with the fire sprinkler guy. The fire sprinklers are usually the last thing to get put in before they do what's called house seal, where they put all the caulk and stuff and seal up your house so it's nice and airtight. They accidentally pulled down a ductwork, so it's disconnected. So it's the HVAC guy, he put it in, but then it was accidentally pulled down, or an electrician was drilling on this side of the 2x4. On this side was a water pipe, and he didn't see it.
Right.
That happened to me.
That
happened to me. Yeah. It was not a good day.
Oh yeah. But really, and the big misconception people get about resale home inspections is, oh, did I pass? Does the house pass or does it fail? There's no pass or fail. The reason why you should get a home inspection is for education. The more information that you have about something, the better you're going to feel about your decision and the smarter decision you're going to make. So that's where it's if you're in a market or a situation where it's hey, if you put in for this home inspection, good luck with your offer. We've got 6 other people that are waiving inspections.
Right.
That's where a modified inspection, like a walk and talk, can help.
Yeah.
Because then it's hey, you know what? We're not going to be able to get as much information as we would with a home inspection, but at least with this walk and talk, we'll be able to get more information than we have now.
For the benefit of our audience, why don't you tell everybody what a walk and talk is?
So a walk and talk is typically 1 hour, is usually how long the showing is, and we will come with you to the showing, and we will walk with you and talk with you. There's no report.
Walk and talk.
There's no report. There's no recording or anything like that. It's literally I'm coming through. I'm hey, this is what we have going on with the deck. You've got a post over here that's rotted. You should get that taken care of. Let's keep going. Okay, your roof looks to be in really good shape. It looks like maybe it was replaced within the last 5 years. That's a good thing. We want to cover the big things. Yeah. And then it depends on the size of the house, depends on the buyer. We have a buyer that he wants to do a walk and talk, and he wanted one of the outbuildings done on the property. And I'm we have 1 hour, whatever you want us to look at, we'll look at. So it's just whatever they want us to take a look at, we will guide them with it. And we'll be hey, and we're always keeping track of our time. So it's hey, we have 30 minutes, we're halfway through, or we've got 30 minutes and we're 25% through of what we would like to look at. We can keep going at your pace with your questions, but I just want we want to be able to get to the major stuff.
Right.
Right. Really to put their mind at ease, right, JD?
Oh, absolutely. And for the benefit of for the benefit of the viewers right now also, so you're probably wondering, why would anybody get just a walk and talk? Well, there's several reasons. One of them being is if you're looking at a property like Mark said, where, there's 7 offers and there's, people waiving their home inspections. In order for you to be competitive, a lot of people don't even realize this option. And actually, Mark, you were one of the first people in the area to offer the walk and talk, I remember. And it was such a great tool to use because if there's, like I said, that many offers and you can't be competitive and you don't feel comfortable completely waiving it, get a walk and talk, walk through, look at the big ticket items, make sure that there's nothing in there that's an absolute deal breaker. And that, I think it's such a huge thing. When we started having that as an option, it just kind of alleviated some of that stress from the idea of not getting a home inspection.
One thing that I would love for you to kind of tell us about, have you ever seen a perfect inspection? And my reason for asking that is because I've worked with buyers where they get an inspection, they see these items, they freak out, and we've walked out from 6 different deals because they're expecting this inspection to be absolutely perfect with not one thing on the report.
I've had a client like that.
I've never seen that. There's always, even with new build, there's always something. It's funny though, you asked the perfect inspection, the closest to the perfect house that I came across, it was a 1960s house.
Wow.
It was over in Woodsboro. And I ended up doing 2 inspections for the seller after he moved out. But during the inspection, the seller was there, which usually is hey, let's give the buyers their space.
Right.
Let's let them go through the house. And the big reason I tried, if we show up and the seller's oh, the buyer's coming? I'm yeah, the buyer's coming. They're should we be here? I'm I don't want to tell you to leave your own house, but it's better for you. It's better for the buyer because they're going to see themselves in the house.
Right.
As their house versus, oh, you're the seller's here, I'm a guest in their house.
Right.
And but in this case, it worked out pretty well because like there was like 1 or 2 issues that we found, and some of the stuff was maintenance, but there was 1 or 2 issues that really needed to be taken care of. By the end of the inspection, the guy had left, gotten the stuff to fix it, and came back and fixed it.
Oh,
That's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
That's a good seller.
That is a good seller.
I mean, he was meticulous with everything with the house, and it was one of those things that like, you know, he just had so much pride in like doing everything. Like it was almost like a military, like I don't think he was military, but it was almost like a military view of things. Like everything has its place and it has its order, and
it's got to get done.
Yeah,
it's ironic that 1964 house.
Yeah, people would
will get almost a perfect rating and an inspection versus a house that was built in 1970.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And but it's funny because like I'll come through and I'll do an inspection on a house that's in really good shape, and I'll tell the buyers, I'm like, you know, like this is a big responsibility, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, this house is in really good shape. Like, you have the responsibility to keep it this way. A guy that had a house like that I did the other 2 inspections for, like, those houses were nowhere near to that. But it didn't scare him because he's like, I'm gonna redo a lot of this stuff. Like, it's just what he enjoyed doing. Like,
oh, so you helped him again later? Oh, okay, yeah. That's awesome.
He was driving from Woodsboro to Front Royal for work.
Wow.
And then he's like, I don't want to make that drive anymore. I'm going to go down there. And then he's like, I miss it up here. So then he moved back.
Oh, man.
So what I'm hearing is that buyers should not be scared of some items on an inspection report. And as the inspector, you will tell them like what items they should be, like maybe walk away from or not walk away from.
What we do is you ever heard of the KISS principle?
No.
Let us
Tell
know.
us, enlighten us.
Let us know.
The KISS principle?
The KISS principle? You guys have never heard that?
Nope. Nope.
You might have to edit the 4th word out, but it's keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. No, okay, I've heard of that. I forgot it was called the KISS principle.
Yeah, we heard about that. Yeah.
So I think it was like 2 years ago when things started getting a little bit more sensitive, like in our society.
Yeah.
I had 2 separate people on 2 separate inspections ask me to please not say the word stupid, and I was like, "What?
What?"
So what came of that though was I say, keep it super simple.
Yeah.
I kind of like even better. It's Keep it super simple. So we like to keep things simple. So like with our reports, like we try to make it like we don't try to use these big grand words because it's like, you ever been to a doctor before and they're trying to explain something to you and you're like, I have no idea what just happened in there.
Yeah.
Like, am I dying?
Yeah.
What was that? Like, and they're like, oh, no, you just have a headache. Like, here, take this medicine. Like, why'd you use all those fancy words? Like, I don't get it. So we try to do that too, because like, if we as a home inspector understand what's going on with the house, but you don't, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to understand what's going on with the house, like as a buyer. And so we try to keep it very, very simple. And one thing that I noticed, like when I first started, was, okay, let's do things in blue and things in red. So the things in blue are like a low priority. The things in red are a top priority. And what we'll tell them is at the beginning of the inspection, we'll lay that like expectations. So like I used to do this at the end of the inspection, like my first year. And I was like, this is silly. Like I needed to talk to them about this at the beginning because you set that expectation. You say, okay, look, just because something is red doesn't mean it's a huge major item.
Right.
It means if it was me and I was moving into the house, it's what I would do first. So each house, it can be different. Like you can have a 2-year-old house where some of your red items are very small things. And then you have a 200-year-old house where the foundation's falling in and it's like, your red items are a little bit different on this one.
Right.
But it's just all about just setting that expectation and making sure that those buyers know what's going on with the home and what to take care of first. And it doesn't mean that the low priority aren't important.
Yeah.
It just means concentrate on the stuff in red first. It helps them kind of digest it a little bit better.
And when you come to do a home inspection, you have a pretty grand array of different tools that you're using and technologies that are available now. I know one of them, what's the one? I'm going to botch this. The one that's like a infrared kind of situation. Is that what it is?
I love that.
Infrared camera.
Yeah,
that thing is sick.
Yeah.
So you can just point it. You can look at, I guess you can point it at a spot where you could tell if there's insulation or not. I thought that was so badass.
Yeah, it's cool.
They have devices that even look at moisture.
Yeah.
water.
Oh yeah, they just touch it and they just tell
Yeah.
if it's an active or more recent leak or whatever.
So I guess tell us like what you check when you go to do a home inspection. Like what are the things like? if-
Well, he'd be here. We don't have a 2-hour long
Like,
episode.
just
Tell us what you
summarize.
look for in a home
Yeah.
inspection.
Well,
Let me
real
look at
quick,
this,
real
this,
quick.
this.
Just
What's that like? Do you have the thing on the board where you can make the time?
Yeah. No, there's so much to look at.
But
though.
no, it's great. Like you mentioned thermal imaging, and then you mentioned moisture meter. So those two things, we use them together. So we'll use the thermal camera to go through, and we'll test all the hot water first. Like when we get to a sink or a shower or what have you, we'll turn on the hot water, and then as soon as we feel that there's hot water, we'll turn it off. It does two things. One, lets us know that the hot water's on the right side, that you actually have it. Two, we're not running hot water long enough to run it out of the water heater. And when we get to the last fixture, I don't know if there's hot water in there because we use it all. And the seller's not coming home and be like, oh, they're finally done. Like, I need to take a shower and get my kid to, like, practice or whatever. And they're like, there's no hot water. What's going on?
All right.
So, but after we do test the hot, then we'll run the cold and we'll let that run. Then at the end of the inspection, when we go through with the thermal camera, we'll check the registers for your HVAC for like cooling and heating to see like, okay, do you actually have what's supposed to be coming out of that vent right now? What we have on, is that actually coming out? Two, we're going to use it underneath, like, you know, let's say there's a bathroom above the ceiling here and there's a water stain. We'll use it above that and be like, oh, like it kind of does look like there's maybe a water stain there. Like it looks like with that water stain, with the thermal camera, it looks like there might be a leak. Then what we'll do is we'll get the moisture meter and then we'll come up and be like, oh, never mind. Like
It's dry.
It's dry. Like that must be like insulation or some other temperature change to it.
Right.
So like we'll use those together.
So you hit all the big ticket items: the roof, AC, HVAC, heater, faucets, running water, all the outlets. You test all the outlets to make sure that they're polarized correctly and that there's power to them.
Yeah, what's that tool called? What's that little...
That's actually it.
Yeah.
What's that called again?
Outlet tester. It's
Outlet
fancy.
tester. What the
Outlet
hell? I
tester.
thought it was going to have some cool-ass name.
Fancy name.
Yeah.
Hey, it might, but buyers don't understand fancy names.
Hey,
They're
hey,
like, hey, what are
kiss.
you doing? I'm this outlet tester.
Yep. Another thing is also, I still refer to my home inspection report that you gave me, which is another one of the kind of, I guess, like underappreciated parts about a home inspection is that he's going to supply you with a lengthy report that's going to have photos, and if you have the digital version, sometimes even videos in there with a description. And these are so useful for like a year because, you know, he's going to give you an explanation after your home inspection of the bigger things that are going on, and you're probably going to forget in a year or so. So sometimes I forget and I pull up my old trusty Mark Springirth home inspection report and I can refer back to it to know what things where, like, let's say where the water shut off is or something, you know, that'll be in there. So it's definitely, if you're a first time home buyer and you're not used to the challenges that come with home ownership, it's nice to have kind of a manual on your own home to go back and refer to.
Exactly. It's not something that home inspectors want to scare people out of buying homes. You want to be educated.
Well, some of them.
Yeah, you want to be
Some of them do actually like to do that.
I know, that's true.
Come back to me. I'll charge you another home inspection fee. Let me do another one.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't do it. Pull the plug.
Have you guys had ones like that?
I've seen them, yeah.
Well, at the beginning of your of this podcast, I was going to ask JD. I mean, have you ever had a inspector ask your clients or the sellers any questions regarding their house?
Yeah.
Or have they communicated with them?
Right.
You know,
I've had ones that are be like, yeah, no, this issue's not too bad, but the house is basically going to fall apart. And you're just like, brother, come on, man. What are we doing here? No, but it's a big responsibility. Home inspectors have a tremendous amount of responsibility on their shoulders. And, that's go back to what you had said, though, Mark. I really love that. There is no pass fail. Every house is going to have something in it that needs to be addressed. It's just a matter of how many things.
it's just to make you aware what needs to be addressed and address it.
And what you're getting yourself into, pretty
Exactly.
much.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I learned early on too was I did an inspection up in Hagerstown, and the roof was shot, the boiler was leaking, the electrical panel was like a Federal Pacific panel, and there was actually like burn marks on the inside of it. and the buyer was getting there late. He couldn't get off work early enough, and he got there like halfway through the inspection. And as I'm doing this is probably like 8 years ago. I'm like, who is going to buy this house?
You're speaking to yourself, right?
Yeah, like I'm just talking to myself. I'm like, who's going to want to buy this place? Like, there's so much wrong with this place. And he shows up, and I start going over stuff with him. And he goes, oh, the roof? Okay, my uncle does roofing. And then I got to the boiler. He's like, my brother actually works on boilers. And then we got to the electrical panel. He's like, I don't really have anybody that does electrical work, but I can find somebody.
Yeah.
And he was okay with everything.
Yeah.
Like, you never know what someone's limitations are or what scares them.
100%.
So it's really, I'm going to give you the information. I'm going to let you know what's going on with it. And then what you do with that information is up to you.
Yeah.
Like,
That's like the book we've been reading on our team right now. What's the title of the book again? Oh God, look at this.
God,
I got two senile podcasts.
You know what that tells me?
That no one's reading it.
You guys aren't reading
We
it.
aren't reading the book. Rob, I promise we're reading the book, okay? Jeez Louise. No, but the whole thing was about empowering your clients by being transparent, by giving them the information so that they can make their own informed decisions. And that's ultimately what you're trying to do.
Exactly. So don't be afraid of an inspection. When you go to buy a house, make sure you get it inspected, even if it's new. That's my advice to everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. And if your realtor is actually encouraging you to waive the home inspection, that is not a good realtor because legally we are not allowed to encourage
Correct.
you.
Or should we?
What do you mean?
We shouldn't encourage.
No, that's what I'm saying. But there are people out there. So the way I phrase it, it's like, hey, like I talk about the walk and talk.
Yeah.
You know, other agents will just be like, hey, look, you get a home inspection on this, you're cooked. It's over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's done.
Right.
And
also, there are agents out there that will tell the inspector, hey, go a little light on this. I really want to sell this."
Yeah.
No, you don't do that.
I don't
Yeah.
book
Honestly.
Mark doesn't give a you-know-what if you ask him to take it easy on a home. He's going to get the info to those clients. You can bet your bottom dollar. We are at the end of the episode, okay? So we just want to give a round of applause. Hit the round of applause for Mark Springirth at Springirth Home Inspections. Mark, if somebody wants to reach you, where do they find you?
240-599-0400. That goes to our office. You can call or text. You can find us online at springirthservices.com or serve at springirthservices.com for email.
We're going to tag the company website into the caption so that way you can go there and visit it. And if you have any questions about home inspections, this is the guy to call. And we really appreciate you joining us today, Mark, and we look forward to seeing you guys again next week with another special guest that's yet to be determined, but it's coming. We don't know yet. But enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Bye-bye.